Chris McIntosh makes another bold decision. University of Wisconsin men's hockey program is heading in a new direction. Tony Granato is out. Plus, we go inside one of the Badgers' patented scoring droughts in basketball. What goes into that? We break it down play by play, plus a lot of your comments. Great show today on Locked On Badgers. Let's go.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Locked On Badgers, your team every single day. I'm your host, Ryan Herrings, as always. Really do appreciate everybody tuning in, everybody finding the show, however you're finding it. Thank you so much. All right, so if you watch this show a lot, you know we really talk men's basketball and football 99% of the time, right? And that's by design. That's for a reason. Those are the sports I know, and I think it's the sports that quite frankly, I think it's the sports that people want to talk about. But men's hockey is one of Wisconsin men's hockey, even though it's not something I really follow. When it's good, I watch it, at the end of the season. It's one of the blue blood hockey programs. Someone in a thread on one of the forums mentioned, it's men's hockey is a helmet program, essentially. That's how good they are. That's how strong the tradition is. The facilities are incredible. They pay way above and beyond what the average men's hockey coach makes. It's an institution, and really it's fallen completely off a cliff, right? Tony Granato has been the men's hockey coach since 2016. Overall, he came in with a ton of hype. He built an incredible staff, former Wisconsin player. Like, he checked so many boxes, and it just didn't work. And I was talking to somebody who would know this better than I would, and he said nobody wanted it to work more than Tony Granato. Like, nobody wanted this to succeed more than Tony. And I think people are shocked it didn't. I also think people realize that kind of it's time now. This doesn't come as a huge surprise, but it's time. But it's also really surprising. If you go back to 2016, you go back to when he was hired, you go back to the staff he put together and his ability to recruit players and his pedigree as a coach, people thought that was a home run hire. Like, that this is going to kind of be the next step in Wisconsin's continued dominance of this sport. One of the most storied programs in NCAA. And it just didn't. I mean, it just didn't work. He did have a couple really good years, one of them anchored by Cole Caulfield. Caulfield, just one of the best hockey players in the history of Wisconsin sports. But overall, 105 and 129 overall. He had a losing record in the Big Ten, and it just wasn't working. I was listening to he talked a little bit to the media today after being let go. And I'm telling you, he comes off as just the classiest. He talked about how excited he was and how happy he was that he was able to go through the journey with some of his players. You could tell it wasn't a huge surprise to him. Like, I mean, this has been talked about for a while. It's been out there for a while. It kind of felt like he was coaching for his Wisconsin career this season, and they went 13-23. They just weren't very good again, and so a lot of people weren't surprised by it. But he comes across as just such a classy person, someone who's really grateful for the opportunity. And again, somebody who really gives a crap about Wisconsin. Like, it's really important to him. And I was told this, nobody wanted it to work more than Tony. And it just didn't. And sometimes it's life. Sometimes everything feels right. It seems like you made a great move, whether we've all been there, whether you take a great job or you go into a great relationship and you think everything's perfect. And for some reason, it just doesn't click. Like, whether it's the wrong time at the wrong place or the right place at the wrong time, whatever it is, it just never worked. And again, kudos here to Chris McIntosh, right? He is obviously changed out the football program, made dramatic moves there, and now is making another move to overhaul the hockey program. And this is from Chris McIntosh in the press release. I believe our men's hockey program can consistently compete at the championship level. My intention is to find a coach that will lead us, or that will find a coach that will lead the effort to get us there. Again, it's just more evidence that Chris McIntosh, it would be really easy if you wanted to sit on your laurels after kind of retooling the football program, bringing in Luke Fickell. Chris McIntosh, I think, is really determined to bring this athletic department into this new era of college sports. And I'm excited to see it. So it's another just indication that he's not going to sit on the sideline. He's not going to kind of take a hands-off approach. Like, he's going to address issues as he sees them. And we've already seen 2 instances of that. So it's impressive to me from Chris McIntosh. He's decisive, way more than we thought he would be. Again, this move isn't as surprising as the football one, but he's showing that it's not going to be okay to be, especially at the flagship programs at Wisconsin, to be mediocre. And this is another reason, and I'm going to tie this back to Greg Gard for a second. This is another reason why I'm just fascinated to see this offseason. Just absolutely fascinated to see what happens this offseason, because I think Greg Gard gets the memo. First of all, Greg Gard, let's be clear on one thing. He's not an idiot. Right? As much as people question some of the rotations, the recruiting, Greg Gard's not an idiot. Okay. He sees what's going on here. He understands that Chris McIntosh maybe has a different set of expectations than in previous administrators. And he's got to make changes this offseason. He knows it. And that's why I'm really excited for it. I think Chris McIntosh has kind of set the gauntlet, set the standard. And again, it's for the Big Ten programs, which men's basketball is one of those programs. You have to live up to a standard at Wisconsin. And that doesn't mean you can never have a bad year. I think that's where some of the disconnect is between myself and other people who are more frustrated with the basketball program. I think you can have a down year, but you can't stack them. You can't have multiple down years in a row. And I don't think Chris McIntosh is going to stand for that. I think he's setting a pretty high standard. And I think Greg Gard understands that. He sees the warning flare that went up, right? He sees the football overhaul. He's obviously going to see Tony Granato leaving the building. So he's going to attack this offseason. I really believe that. So, excuse me, I'm very excited to see that happening. Obviously, I am excited to see which direction they go with the hockey program. That's a program I don't really follow, but we're definitely going to talk about the new hire when it's made, talk about kind of what that's bringing to the program, because Wisconsin's better when men's hockey's better. Wisconsin's better. I love the women's volleyball program. It's incredible to watch. Like, Wisconsin's better when these sports are better. And even though it's not things I follow on a day-to-day, I don't really get into it that much. When they're playing in a big time game and they're ranked, like, I get excited about that too. And that all is good for the program. A rising tide lifts all boats. A great hockey program brings more exposure to Wisconsin. It's fun. The fans have something else to cheer about. These are great environments student athletes can go to. It's more recruiting tools. It all comes together in this big ecosystem. And the more good things you have, the better. Right? Especially in this era of trying to sell everything and trying to market everything. The more great atmospheres you have, the more great products you have, it's just better. And men's hockey is one of those things that should really be good at Wisconsin, right? You should not have to settle through a 4, 5, 6 year drought where you only have a couple good seasons. So I'm excited to see what direction they go. I'm continually excited about Chris McIntosh and kind of the direction he's moving this athletic department. He is certainly not somebody who's come in here and kind of said, I'm new, I'm going to get my bearings, I'm going to take a couple years. No, he's come in and he said, listen, we need to get moving in the right direction in a couple different spots. Bam, bam, bam. I'm going to make decisive actions and decisions, and we're going to go in those areas. So I'm excited about, obviously, Tony Granato, a great Wisconsin guy, cared a lot about the program. It just didn't work out. I wish him a ton of success wherever he goes. Incredibly classy in the brief media clip I saw today. So definitely hats off to him. It just didn't work out. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about the anatomy of a Badgers basketball drought. Going back to the last game against Minnesota, we're going to go under the hood with I think a 5.5 minute drought and see kind of what contributed to that. What were the type of shots we were getting? Why did we go through such long droughts? We're going to start talking about that next on Locked On Badgers, plus a lot of your comments coming up. But first, today's show is brought to you by our good friends over at Built Bar. I've talked about Built Bar a lot. If you're looking for a delicious treat, something that doesn't have a ton of fat calories, you got to try Built Bar. Right, we're through the holiday season. We're coming up into spring. We're coming up into summer. We're coming up into lake weather, beach weather. We want to look a little better for that. Built Bar is one of your go-to tools. It's going to be one of my go-to tools. I'm coming home to Wisconsin for a month. I'm going to be on the lake. I can't wait to get there. I need to look a little better. Built Bar, full of protein, not a lot of sugar, not a lot of calories, incredible flavors, churro, peanut butter brownie, coconut almond. I'm not sure how they do it. These bars taste great while maintaining amazing macros that you want to put in your body. And what's even better, again, they're healthy. Like, you want to eat them and you also feel good about it after. Like, that's the double threat, right? Things you want to eat and things you feel good about after you've eaten them. Like today, I had a huge box of M&Ms. I don't feel great after doing that. So now you don't need to wait around to get the box. Go to Walmart, go to Sam's Club, get your 4-bar box at Walmart, your 13-bar box at Sam's Club. You'll thank me later. All right, let's talk. Oh, actually, before we even get to there, go check out Locked On College Basketball. All the biggest college basketball stories, especially with March Madness coming up. Great hosts, incredible insight, all on Locked On, wherever you get your podcasts, on YouTube, the Odyssey app. Locked On College Basketball. All right, let's talk about kind of the anatomy of a Badgers basketball drought, right? And they're all a little different, but let's go under the hood. Go back to the Minnesota game. Let's go to 10:30 first half. It's Wisconsin's at 18 points. They don't score again until 4:50 in the game. That's about a 5.5-minute drought. Okay, let's look at actually what happened to that sequence, right? See if we can draw anything out of it. Talk about some of the things on the rewatch that I kind of picked up on that. When you rewatch it, you feel a little bit better about it, to be honest. All right, so let's go into it. Again, 10:30 first half. Wisconsin's at 18 points. They have a slim lead playing Minnesota. Steven Crowell just hit a free throw. Next possession down. And again, this was a game where Crowell and Wall were really dominating the post, right? So next possession down, we get a nice post entry to Steven Crowell. He's on the left block, kind of, doing that thing where he's kind of taking his time. He's a really good passer when he's not bothered and when he's not sped up. We have a great baseline cut from Connor Sejan. Crowell passes him, great look, and that's where Connor just missed that reverse layup. Okay, that's a quality shot. Okay, through this entire drought, we're going to talk about the quality shots we got and the shots that were forced. So first possession down in this 5.5-minute drought, good post feed, got what we wanted. Crowell had good position, found a great cut from Sejan, and Sejan just blew a layup. He's going to make that most of the time. Okay, so that's a quality shot. Next time down, we feed the post again. Get it back out. Tyler Wall drives. Tyler Wall draws a couple people. This is something I was talking about in the previous show where Tyler Wall, he doesn't need post position to get into the post, right? If you're struggling to feed the post, just bring Tyler Wall out and let him dribble into the post. He can do that pretty well. Anyway, Tyler Wall dribbles in. Kamari McGee's in the corner. Again, this is with Chucky Hepburn on the bench. So McGee's playing a lot of these minutes. Lindsey gets in a little bit. So, Tyler Wall drives in, kicks it to McGee in the corner. McGee's got a pretty open shot. He's a little off balance. He rushes it a little bit. I would say decent shot, but he airballs it. Like Kamari McGee just airballs it. But in the moment when he shoots it, I'm okay with the shot. It's a pretty open shot in the corner off a good pass from Tyler Wall. I would call that a mostly quality shot, especially with Kamari McGee that's been playing better recently. So we're a couple possessions into this slump, and we've already gotten 2 quality shots. We missed a layup and an open corner 3. Like, it's hard to – that's just players missing shots, right? But you like the looks you're getting. Okay. We come down next. We after that air ball, we get the ball back, out of bounds play. Klesmit goes to the corner. We got 6 seconds on the shot clock. Throw it to him, and he just kind of hoists a 3. That's a bad shot. With 6 seconds left on the shot clock there, coming on an out of bounds play, you want a better look. So that's a forced shot. I do like Klesmit being aggressive there, but you can get a better look. So that's kind of the first one here we don't like. Coming back down next possession, Connor comes off a curl, gets the ball. He tries to be aggressive. He dribbles off his foot out of bounds. So we get our first turnover of this slump. We don't get a shot there. But even then, again, as you're looking, this is where I said, when you go back through this, and by the way, you're welcome to everybody for me going back through this 5.5-minute drought, so you don't have to. But when you go back through it, there's several quality shots. There's a nice aggressive drive right here that we're talking about. Connor gets in the paint. He just loses the ball. He's a freshman. Next year, that's a play he's probably either going to pull up mid-range and just kind of hit like a little 10-footer, or he's going to be a little stronger, get to the rim, have a better handle, and finish. It's not the idea behind this play wasn't bad. It just didn't work out. Okay, so coming back, we're going to get another play for Connor. Listen, we've talked a lot about Greg Gard. Let's get Connor some more looks. So on this one, we run kind of a Connor off a curl, and then he comes back off of the screen from, I think it was Crowell. We get the ball top of the key. Minnesota defended it really well. So, Connor passed it off, cut down, and then came right back curling off a screen to the top of the key, shot a 3, but it was really, really well contested. That's a forced shot, not a quality look. Again, there's some youthfulness there from Connor. It's kind of one of those things where, and I've coached youth basketball, and listen, Connor's way more advanced than this. I'm not saying this would happen, but sometimes when you call a play for a player, a younger one especially, they feel like they have to shoot it. This play was blown up. There was still time on the shot clock. I think next year, maybe a little more experienced Connor Sejan, he probably gets that, sees he's covered, pump fakes, and drives it, or just moves the ball again and we reset. It was just a forced shot, not a good look, top of the key, plenty of time left on the shot clock. But again, I like what Greg Gard was trying to do there, trying to free up Connor at the top, off a screen, get some misdirection, and see if we can get an open shot. It didn't go in. Not a great look from Connor on this one. All right, so next play, we got a out of bounds play, Jordan Davis. There's 19 seconds on the shot clock, and it was just a terrible miss. Like, we hit Jordan Davis in the corner, he curled down out of bounds, and then he threw it basically off the top of the backboard. So is it a quality look? Like, do you consider Jordan Davis getting a shot in the corner a quality look? Probably. Like, he's not a bad three-point shooter statistically. He's not a great one, but an open shot in the corner, I mean, he just threw it off the top of the backboard. And Jordan Davis is fascinating to me. Like, he is a good shooter at times, but some of his misses are just... Like, I mean, he misses badly at times, but he shoots statistically well enough that you don't hate him taking an open shot in the corner. So again, not a bad shot. Next time down, again, this drought continues. And during this time, Minnesota has now taken the lead and built the lead. So next time down, we got a Tyler Wall post attempt. And this is, again, if you're Greg Gard or if you're a fan, they got it in, clean entry to Tyler Wall. He's on the right block, dribbling in. And he just, if you remember this play, the Minnesota defender, I forget who it was, kind of pulled the chair. Wall lost his balance and just kind of falling backwards, threw up a shot that had no chance. I mean, it's not a bad look, though. Like, that's kind of what you want in that moment. You're in a drought. You're in a slump. You've had a couple turnovers, a couple shots in the corner that were pretty bad misses. Let's get it to Tyler Wall one-on-one. And Minnesota just won that possession. But if you're Greg Gard, you probably take that. You probably take that 10 out of 10 times. I know when they went into Wall, I'm like, oh, this is a good look. He's probably going to score here. And he just lost his balance and threw up a bad shot. All right, so next time down, and again, it is rough to watch. It is, as a fan, not just of the Badgers, right? As a fan of basketball, it's rough to watch a 5.5-minute drought. It's not the most pleasant basketball viewing experience in my life, especially after watching some NBA games the other day, and the shot quality is just so stark, the difference. So next come down, we get the ball to Crowell again. Like, you're in a slump. The previous play, you go to Tyler Wall. This one, you go to Crowell. You get another one-on-one. Crowell loses his balance a little bit, gets pushed outside, and has an off-balance kind of fading hook shot. Like, again, if you're Greg Gard, a one-on-one in the post with Crowell, who had been dominant, Tyler Wall had been dominant in that game, and he just got kind of pushed out. He wasn't strong enough. I think he hurried it a little bit, and he missed the shot. It was a poor shot attempt from Steven Crowell. He needs to be a little more patient. He had time on the shot clock. Minnesota defense, a rebound, that possession's over. But again, it's another good offensive look, right? That's what you want in that situation. Without Chucky Hepburn out there, get it to Crowell in the post, get a one-on-one. We got that, and they just didn't execute. All right, so next come down, Klesman's got the ball left, and this is where we kind of break out of this finally. We're down to about 4:50 on the clock now. This slump started at 10:30. So Klesman's got the ball, skip pass out to Isaac Lindsey, who's a couple feet behind the three-point line. He takes the shot. I don't love that shot. It's a little deep, but Lindsey will fire it. He takes the shot, misses the shot, offensive rebound. It comes out. Klesman gets a three, bangs it, slumps over. So that's right there. That's a 5.5-minute slump, right? And every game the Badgers have one of these slumps. And I wanted to actually kind of take a look at it and go under the hood. And what you do when you do that and you go back and look through it, it's a lot of pretty good shots for the most part. The Badgers are just missing them, which, there's a difference between running really bad offense, and that's why you're in a slump, or running decent offense, continuing to get decent looks, and then either turning the ball over or missing open threes or missing one-on-one post attempts. In that entire kind of possession tree I just talked about, there's only really two shots I really hated, right? I shouldn't even say hated. I didn't love the Klesman three in the corner with 6 seconds left on the shot clock where he's fading out of bounds and there's somebody all over him. That's not a good look, right? You can do better than that with 6 seconds. You don't have to hurry it that much. And I didn't love I didn't love the Jordan Davis one in the corner, but even that one, not a terrible shot. You mix in a Connor turnover that was off an aggressive drive, 2 one-on-one post misses from Wall and Crowell, and then an open shot from McGee in the corner. Like, that's not bad offense is my point. You just got to put the ball in the bucket, and that's where we have to hope some help is coming in the offseason. Obviously, Chucky Hepburn not being on the court hurt that as well. But wanted to talk through one of the Badgers' mini patented slumps. thought that would be interesting to go through it. Coming up next, we get your comments. We're going to talk about that next on Locked On Badgers, football and basketball comments. So we're going to get into that next. Really appreciate it. But first, a word from our friends of the show over at FanDuel. Again, one of America's #1 sports book and our newest sports book, our new friends of the show. Midway through the NBA season, it's the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Nobody does that. That's incredible. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, super easy to use. Bet on everything from the money line to point scores, three-pointers drained. I've talked about the Suns a lot running the table. I'm definitely FanDuel on them for a futures championship. They were plus 500. Plus, you can bet on player props, points, rebounds, assists, same game parlays. Lets you combine everything for a bigger payout. It's incredible. It's really easy to use. Don't miss your chance right now to get your no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets back when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, let's keep this going here. Once again, really do appreciate everybody tuning in. Y'all are the best. We're building this community up. Let's get into some of your comments because, as always, we try to bring what you're saying onto the show. This is from John Koppmeyer. Anytime we can beat the Golden Rodents is a good day. Doesn't matter how we get it done. Agreed. Thank you, John. I couldn't say that any better. Yes. Cold Stone, Wisconsin's strength and conditioning program prior to the Cincinnati upgrade was terrible. Fond du Lac's strength program was better. Yeah, listen, we talked about it on the show. I know Justin and I have a couple times. It felt like Wisconsin has been getting pushed around the last couple of years. It feels like players haven't gotten as big. They haven't been as explosive. We haven't developed the draft prospects we have in the past. If you remember, what was the core Wisconsin built on? I mean, it was built on certainly some stars, but a lot of 3 stars that developed, right? That got bigger, stronger, faster. And those dudes just haven't been here as much the last couple of years. We talked about how Ohio State looked like they pushed us around. You know, it's been a weird thing to see develop at Wisconsin. I cannot wait to see what Brady Collins does here. When he was hired, the new strength and conditioning program, I talked to one of the Cincinnati beat guys. He said Brady Collins is Luke Fickell's secret weapon. And we are seeing, I think we're going to see some of that this year already. So not to say anything about the previous regime, but I think we've upgraded in that aspect. Let's go. Craig Henrik said, we got something really special in Coach Fick. Did you see the video of the players chanting his name and him jumping into the training pool? Awesome. Yes, I did. I love it. I'm here for all the social media stuff, especially with the football program. I think it's exciting, and it looks like he's a player's coach, right? There was a video of Luke Fickell jumping into, I think it was a cold tub. The players were chanting for it. It's just stuff you, for better or worse, and listen, this doesn't help you necessarily win a game, but it's fun to see the players be excited. It's fun to see them embracing the new coach, the new culture, the new regime. I'm excited for all that. I did see that video, Craig. Thank you for chiming in. I enjoyed it. Tom Hill said this team has no playmakers. The offense needs to run through a siege. Gard needs to start recruiting more depth and stop playing 7 guys every night. So 3 kind of parts there. I agree mostly on the first part. This team, I wouldn't say has no playmakers, but there's a dearth of playmakers, right? I don't think Hepburn's consistent there, and I don't think anyone else can really set up shots for other people. So there is a need for someone to come in, and whether that's Hepburn growing or someone else coming in to create easy offense for himself and for other people on the team. I think that's an issue on this squad. I agree there. The offense needs to run through a siege. I would pump the brakes just a little bit there, Tom. And I know why people are saying that. I think he's still a little loose on the handle. I think he's going to get there. I think he's a future star. I don't think you can run the offense fully through him yet. I just don't think he's quite there at his level of development, which isn't a knock on him. He's a freshman, right? Like that would be a lot to expect anybody to do. It's a very hard thing to not only hit open shots, but to put the energy into creating shots, running the offense, running through actions. He's really good at what he does, right? Cutting to the rim. We're seeing more of an element of getting to the basket off the drive from him. He's a great shooter, obviously. I think that's plenty on his plate for this year. And I don't know if you could put a lot more there. And the last part is Greg Gard needs to start recruiting more depth, stop playing 7 guys. Yeah, 100% agree on the depth. It's not been there for 2 years. Gard needs to address it. So I think that's going to happen this offseason. Greg Campbell says, what do you think about Nebraska possibly getting the #1 ranked quarterback in the 2024 class? Yeah, I think it's Dylan Raiola, who is obviously he's not the son. He's related to Donovan Raiola. I'm mixing up my D's. They're all D Raiolas. So the Raiola that played at Nebraska is now coaching there, the former offensive lineman, and he's related to Dylan Raiola, who is the number one quarterback in the 2024 class, a freak show talent. By the way, I watched some of his film, and it sounds like Nebraska's in a great spot for him. So I'm not thrilled about it, right? Listen, let's not beat around the bush. That'd be an incredible get for Nebraska. That's a game-changing type of talent. And we've all seen what happens when a school gets a game-changing type of talent at quarterback, right? It elevates everything in the program. So we'll see. USC's in on. I mean, everybody you can imagine is in on him. I know USC is a really strong front runner there as well. But it sounds like Nebraska's in a great spot, and that'd be a huge get for them. So definitely something we're watching here. Joe Shalom said they're very close to being an extremely good team. We need patience because if Wall sticks around next year, we could be competing for the Big Ten title. I think it would be Joe, thank you for the comment. I think it would be Wall sticking around plus depth, plus growth from Asijan, Hepburn, Crowell, plus at least one athletic guy in the transfer portal coming in. If we're talking competing for the Big Ten title, I think we're not just a Wall coming back. And I'm not saying you're saying this, Joe. I'm just kind of thinking out loud in my head. I think we're more than just a Wall coming back and internal development of players on the roster. I think we're internal development of players on the roster, Tyler Wall coming back, plus instant impact from Gus Yalden, plus a transfer wing. I think if you can check those 4 boxes, which I don't think some of those are crazy, right? I think Gus Yalden is going to play right away. I think Connor Asijan is going to be better next year. I think Tyler Wall probably is 50-50. I don't know if he's coming back, but I think some of these aren't like outlandish, but I think you need multiple things to happen this offseason if we're talking competing for a Big Ten title next year. And that impact transfer portal addition on the wing might be the hardest one to get. So appreciate the comment. Let's go to a Kefo. I just had my teeth pulled without anesthetic. Nope. I was actually just watching Wisconsin basketball. Listen, it's not always pretty this year. It is not. I would say this, and I've talked about it before. In a not always pretty season, we still may be going to March. And I think that's something that you can hang your hat on. So that's where I'm at there. Kefo, as always, man, appreciate it. Commandant Klink said, and thank you guys again, everybody for the comments, said, my take on the NCAA tournament chances, a win over Ohio State and a loss to Iowa, we are out. A win over Ohio State and Iowa, and we are sweating. Beat Ohio State, Iowa, and Michigan, and we are in. So talking about the Big Ten tournament, Commandant Klink is saying if we beat Ohio State round 1 and then lose to Iowa round 2, we're out. I actually think, I think you're probably right. I think you're probably right. I think you need to win 2. But I think if you beat Ohio State and Iowa, you're in. I don't think you're sweating it. I think you're in if you beat Ohio State and Iowa. And obviously, if you win 3 games in the tournament, I definitely think you're in. So I appreciate the comment. That's where I think we're at. We're going to need to win at least 2, I think. And when has Wisconsin in the last month and a half proven that they can win multiple games in a row? So I don't know if I would bet on it, but I'm definitely going to be rooting for it. Anyway, on Wisconsin, we're going to talk to all you tomorrow. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Let's go.